Are you ready? Stand by.
Welcome to the 3Gun Show, episode 76. I am your host, Dave Hartman. My guests this week in two different interviews are 3Gun Nation instructors Chad Drury and Mike Sexton, and then their director of club and regional series, Charles Soule. Listen as we discuss 3Gun Nation's basic 3-gun training classes and what to expect, and then we wrap up the super rainy Southwestern Regional in Marble Falls, Texas. This episode is brought to you by MGM Targets. Have you ever been in a match and thought, wow, I really need practice on those skinny knockdowns, or long-range practice sure would be easier if I had a couple of steel targets with hit indicators? Well, you can get the same quality steel targets that you see in major matches at MGM Targets. My favorite target lately has been the standard shape auto poppers. Those little things are challenging for pistol, shotgun, or rifle, and because they automatically reset, you can run more drills and drills with positional work without bothering to break for reset. Step up your practice or outfit your range and use the code DHMGM10 to save 10% on your purchase. MGM Targets is putting up some great prizes to give away to you over the next few months. When this episode goes live, May's giveaway will be over, but it is still going as I'm recording this. I'll make an announcement of the winner to the email list, and you can sign up for that at 3gunshow.com. Or, if you signed up for the contest, you're already on the email list, so there you go. June's giveaway is for a 10-inch sportsman's target like the one we gave away in March. For details and to enter, go to 3gunshow.com/MGM. In this episode, Mike and Chad spell out exactly what you'll learn in a 3Gun Nation basic training class, and Charles lets us in on the behind-the-scenes challenges of managing a match with foul weather, something he is just a little bit too familiar with. I've included selected links in the show notes at 3gunshow.com/episode 76, or you can just tap the album art on your smartphone and it will take you right there. Now, please join me in welcoming to the show, Mike Sexton and Chad Drury. All right, welcome back to the 3Gun Show. We are here at Copperhead Creek Shooting Club in Marble Falls, Texas, and we are here for the 3Gun Nation Southwestern Regional. And sitting with me are Chad Drury, Mike Sexton. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about the good stuff you have going on with 3Gun Nation here. Real quick, Mike, why don't you tell us why you're out here?
Well, I'm out here as the range master for the 3Gun Nation events. That's my primary chore with 3Gun Nation. I retired a long time ago, and I'm out here doing those all year. But we're also holding an RO class out here, and We've got 22 people in the RO class getting some 3Gun Nation ROs certified. And we're also holding a 3Gun Nation Basic 101 3-gun class here with Chad and myself doing that today. And then we'll shoot with those folks tomorrow in the match to help them learn 3-gun and hopefully bring them back.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I want to dig into that. It sounds like a pretty good program that you've got going here. But let's introduce Chad. Chad, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you.
And you're out here doing the training as well?
I am most recently took on a role as a 3-gun trainer for 3Gun Nation, and I'm out here teaching the 101 basic course.
Very
cool.
Get
new guys involved with the sport and introduce them to 3-gun, and by all means introduce them to 3Gun Nation.
Very cool. Well, I think there's probably not two better guys to do it too, because we were just talking a little bit ago. It looks like you guys have been shooting this almost as long as I've been alive and talking. So, so Mike, you told me something interesting a minute ago that you've been shooting 3-guns since 1988.
I shot my first one. It was basically something that was strode together kind of deal back in North Carolina in '88. I didn't really understand what I was doing at the time, and once I retired out of the Marine Corps in '92, I came back to South Carolina, where I'm from, and started shooting pistol matches. And then in 2001, I was on the board of directors at a gun club there at home, and thought I'd try to put this together. I liked it when it was then, and nobody's doing it, so I put together a 3-gun match there. Stayed with the pistol a couple of more years. But in 2005, I converted to 3-gun all I do. That's my hardcore shooting sport. Love it. It's the most fun you can have with your clothes on. So I've been doing it a long time.
So why then only 3-gun and not dipping into pistol matches as well?
Just the time involved. I mean, if you get in a three gun takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of practice. You got three different type of weapons platforms, and to learn those. And I shoot open class, so I try to get out here and keep sharpening my skills a little bit, even though I don't practice like I should. But it takes a lot of time. Every once in a while, I'll try to go back and shoot a USPSA match at my local club or something like that. But if you're going to be real good in one of these, you really got to focus hard on it, because you can go shoot other matches and using cover, different things like that, and you come out here, your mind's going to revert back to the training you had, and you'll start trying to do those type things. So I try to stick with one commodity and be best at it instead of trying to be just good in all three.
Right. Okay. Well, I like that. That's a good way to look at the sport and progressing and everything. Chad, give us an idea of your background in the sport.
Well, I come from a pistol background. I started shooting USPSA very shortly after my military service, and was very fortunate enough that for about 15 years I shot USPSA at the national level. I was traveling all over the country, and just to be honest with you, I had a friend talk me into trying a three-gun, and I was the type of guy, I've always liked everything that goes bang first and foremost. So I had the rifle, and I already had the pistols, and went to my first three-gun match, and to be honest with you, I was hooked right off the bat. I actually had two major matches left in the USPSA. I had commitments to, and after I shot those in 1998, I've not shot a pistol-only match since.
Oh, no kidding.
And I've been on the circuit doing this pretty much since '98. Back then, it was just primary outlaw matches. There were 5 major outlaw matches in the country, 2 on the West Coast, 1 in the Midwest, and 2 on the East Coast, and we tried to make at least 3 of those. So it's evolved by leaps and bounds. It's just,
Yeah, no kidding.
It's you can shoot somewhere now. In North Carolina, anyway, you can shoot a match every weekend. And
yeah.
It's been a great thing.
Yeah, Colorado's that way too. You can shoot a match every weekend in different parts of the state, and all three-gun too. And
right.
If you want to shoot a pistol and a three-gun match, you can fill your entire weekend for the whole summer months. It's pretty incredible. So the Mike, you were talking earlier about how you're going to do some training of new shooters out here, and then you're going to shoot the match with them as well?
That's correct.
And now, is that something that everyone can expect to get when they take like a 3-Gun Nation training class?
That's what we would like to do.
Uh-huh.
Basically, 3-Gun Nation has come to us last year and said, hey, look, we're wanting to get in to bring new shooters, because there's a lot of people that want to get in this sport, but they don't know what to buy, what to do. But, what to do or those type things. So what we try to do is we have a basic class that we can go in and teach these guys so they won't buy the wrong things,
Right.
This is sports. Any shooting sport anymore is expensive. And if you get in and rather buy the wrong equipment or whatever. So we try to give them a knowledge and skill base that they can get in here, have fun, but first and foremost, be safe, because people don't know about dumping guns, put them in barrels, reholstering guns, and those basic 101 things are just the things that we need to do to try to keep them to be safe so they enjoy it and, have good time at it. But so 3-Gun Nation has asked us to come on board. We've done a few of these already, and we're going to do a couple of more. We have one scheduled in South Carolina on June the 17th. We also have one scheduled in Pennsylvania on July the 18th, I believe it is. And then we have one scheduled in Virginia at the VIR range on July the 22nd for 3-Gun Nation.
Cool.
They're reasonably priced to get into, but it teaches you a lot of the basic stuff that you need to do and how to get in this sport, have a good time, enjoying it without worrying about having to get DQ'd or one of those type of things.
Yes, when you're talking about going to a 3-gun match, like, there's so much to know, because the first thing is like, well, you got to have the 3 guns and then a way to carry your ammunition, and people try to solve that problem before they actually get to a match. Now, do you encourage folks to try to just come with what they have, or do they need to go out and spend $10,000 on guns?
We try to tell these folks, bring what you got in the closet. No matter if it's the old duck gun or whatever. You're just going to load a lot, okay? But bring what you got. See if you're going to like it before you go out and buy $10,000 worth of equipment and 3 guns. And honestly, three gun, I've did a lot of things sports-wise over my years. I'm an old guy. But this is a sport that if I walk out here and I don't have the right equipment, somebody's going to offer it to me out here. You know, everybody in this sport's out to help somebody else. I don't care if it's the top shooters all the way down to somebody that just started yesterday. Everybody wants to help that new shooter get involved. So if they come out here and they have something that doesn't work at all, I guarantee you by the end of the match they'll be shooting somebody else's equipment.
Sure. Yeah, and, you know, that's happened to me before. I've had guns go down, and then, you know, someone on my squad will lend me a shotgun or something like that for a stage.
Absolutely.
But that's just now has three gun always been like that? Just the
Yes.
type of people? Really?
Absolutely. From my experience, and like I said, I came from a pistol background, but these guys are truly the salt of the earth. They will give you the shirt off their back, you know, to aid you in any way they can. And, you know, we see people from all walks of life, from all over the country, and as of yet, I've not seen one that didn't fall in that category to just do anything for anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a rarity.
And so you mentioned, you know, pistol matches. Now, is it the same in a pistol match, or you
Yeah,
find
I think
that?
so. You know, we talked just a little bit about the expense of some of these handguns and rifles and stuff. You know, it's very rarely you'll go to a match. People don't lock their vehicles up with all these guns. I mean, there's a lot of trust here. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of income that's been spent to purchase this stuff, and people, you know, they just trust people around them because there's a brotherhood there first and foremost, and camaraderie that I have not seen anywhere else. And that's not just three gun, but I've seen that in other disciplines of the shooting sports. But as a whole, that whole community, the shooting community, I feel is that way. That they're just salt of the earth.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you know, I'm like Chad. I mean, I'm not scared to leave my car trunk open. We do it all the time. I've never heard, and we've both traveled to a lot of matches, I've never heard of any incidences of any problems of any kind.
Absolutely.
I've heard of incidents where people watch out for each other. You know? I'm just, hey, I watched your stuff, and ain't nobody
Sure.
knows. But this is a brotherhood sport. It really is.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, I left several $1,000s worth of recording equipment just sitting around here, and, you know, we came back, and it was right here waiting for us.
Yeah,
As it should be.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the kind of it's pretty cool, the industry, I guess, of the shooting sports. Like you said, salt of the earth. It is like the you know, top 1% of honest good people out there. It's pretty amazing. So back to the training classes. Can you give us an idea of like the curriculum, Chad, of like where you take them from day one to where they're going to be at the end of the weekend?
Sure. Our curriculum starts off first and foremost with safety. We go through all the safety rules, all the Three Gun Nation Pacific safety rules, and we move on from there. We give them a brief history of how Three Gun Nation has evolved, and then we start working into the three different platforms they're going to use, the pistol, rifle, and shotgun. We break that down to the lowest common denominator, okay? Work on the fundamentals of marksmanship, and then from about that point, you can kind of evaluate about where a student is, okay? And then you can either slow the class down or ramp it up. But then we just take them through the basics, 5 fundamentals of marksmanship. We start talking about gear, placement of gear, those kinds of things, and just keep going from there. Show them a lot of dry fire drills, things that they can take away from this class and improve their marksmanship once they go home or back to their home clubs. And we do a lot of long-range shooting. Most people struggle from the beginners. They struggle with being able to load the shotgun efficiently and be able to hit the long-range targets with the rifle. So that's usually where most of our 101 emphasis falls on. And then now, like this class is a little bit different. That we're actually going to shoot the Southwest Regionals with them. So we'll spend some time this afternoon going out and talk about stage breakdown, our vantage points, where can I post up with a gun and shoot, you know, the most targets, those kinds of things.
Cool.
So we cover the whole gamut. You know, I kind of explain to these guys, we put a lot of information out there. We're kind of like giving them a drink of water from a fire hose.
Yeah,
so we kind of asked them to try to retain 10% of it. And I'm really trying to give them a start-off point more than anything else, because most people are new to the sport. They're a little anxious on one end of the spectrum, or they're shy on the other. They want to get involved, they just don't know where to start. And this is really the venue we're going to provide for them to do that.
So do you guys have like a demographic, like the class? Like, do you have all the same person in there, or is it just like a run of the mill type
It could be anything. It could be anybody. I mean, we get people in there that's never. I mean, they've picked up a gun. It's not that bad back, but we get people in there that they're never really been in a shooting sport, and they want to start out with 3-gun. And we get in there to a little bit more. We get people in there that shot 8 or 10 majors, but want to improve and want to go back, take a step back, make sure they didn't miss nothing before they go to that next level.
Gotcha.
Just to interject that, our last class at VIR in Virginia, we had 22 students, all walks of life. We had from, I think we had 1 active duty Navy SEAL, 2 Marine Corps doctors. We had a concrete truck driver. We had a couple paralegals. It's just all different walks of life.
Wow.
A lawyer?
A lawyer, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
it's like
people, just the common folk, want to come in and learn this.
Absolutely.
And, and want to get a good start and have a little bit of education before they get in there. Gunman, and we hear it a lot, we want to learn gun manipulation. Tell us how we can handle our guns safely. We don't want to get DQ'd at our first match.
Yeah.
So that's what they kind of look at a little bit. So it's interesting to us because we see all walks, and we've been doing it a long time, and we do intermediate classes also for the people that's been shooting a while but want to improve, how to read stages more in-depth on stage readout and those type of things that helps you save time in a stage. But it's really good working with these guys because it's just making the sport grow. And like Chad said earlier, there's a match somewhere every weekend that you can drive to within an hour or so.
Sure, especially in your guys' area, the country for sure. It's a little more spread out in the West, but there's always something that you can drive to.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in one of the major, metropolitan type of areas.
Right. See, I host also the Upstate 3-Gun at the Clinton House in Clinton, South Carolina. I did it last year. I did 6 matches last year. I'm doing 7 this year. They're based around my shooting schedule, so they're not every month or every other month. They're based around my shooting schedule because I still like to shoot too. But we've been full every match we based. And then last month we had 100 people shoot the match, and we had 23 people on a wait list for a monthly match.
That's crazy.
So it's, we have 6 stages, 100 people shooting. We have certified ROs, $35 entry fee. Where can you go wrong?
Wow.
Wow,
that's crazy. You fill 100 spots
easily.
Dang. So what kind of facility is Clinton House?
It's a 2,000-acre hunting facility. Okay. They during the hunting season they do deer, turkey, bird. It also has lodging on site. It also has fishing. It has sporting clays, and they asked me 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, or maybe 2 years ago now, to come in and help them set up some bays that they just wanted to have some shooting areas. Well, from setting up bays to putting a long-range rifle stage in to, hey, you guys might want to run a 3-gun. You got all this natural terrain. Let's utilize some of these creeks, rivers, and trucks and stuff. And so now it's turned into a 3-gun match, and it's well known on social media and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of pictures of people running stages out there and everything.
Right, and we have sponsors. We give away. We have a drawing. It's a drawing match because we don't ask a lot of sponsors. We don't have a prize table, but for 100 shooters, $35, you could win an F1. Okay, F1 rifle.
Wow.
A receiver set. All the way to just about anything. We give away ammo, Lucas Oil. We have a lot of nice sponsors out there that come in and support it.
That's cool. Well, and it's a good thing for sponsors to get involved in too, because you've got like a local match that is easily accessible to those newer shooters, like we were talking about.
Those are the folks that's going to buy the stuff.
Right.
That's who the sponsors, to me, need to reach out to. Us guys that shoot this stuff and we're sponsored by somebody, we get our stuff for free. So somewhat, okay. But these younger guys, that's where these companies need to look out to. They're wanting to buy it. They're wanting to get in. They're taking our classes, wanting to get into this, okay? So we also have some extra bays there. And I have a couple of folks come out and set up. Donnie Flo from Stage Zero Shooting Supply sets up there. So he's got all the latest equipment, the loading equipment, the Load 2, Load 4 systems from Invictus Practical to Fort Mill Munition sets up there and has ammo for sale or people that can test. So we have also, every match, we have 2 or 3 demo bays set up with people in it doing stuff. So the new shooter can come out and see that also.
That's great.
Yeah.
So one-stop shopping. That's what it is.
So this match has a lot of cool stages set up now. We've been seeing some pictures leaking out on Facebook and things like that. And so if folks have been paying attention, there's some pretty cool challenges out there. When you're taking your students through the match on your squad, what are you going to be concentrating on?
First and foremost, we're going to look at the most advantageous place to stop and post up. And what I'm talking about there is where you can stop and see the most visible targets that you engage from one location. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants, you see, if you watch any of the YouTube videos or any of the 3 Gun Nation Pro Series, everybody's shooting on the move.
Right.
That's a very advanced skill, okay? So, it's kind of a crawl, walk, run training mentality that I like to utilize. So these beginning shooters, I'm going to take them out on the stage. First and foremost, we're going to count every target out there, see exactly what we have out there, what we have to shoot. Then we're going to look at which of the 3 platforms are we going to shoot it with. Am I starting with a pistol? Am I starting with a rifle? Am I starting with a shotgun? Okay, if I start with one, how far do I progress through the course of fire before I transition to another gun? And in between that, I'm looking for the most advantageous place to stop, has the most targets available to me that I can shoot from one location. Because really what we're doing in the sport is, I like to equate it to drag racing with firearms. Okay?
Right.
One thing that's really cool about 3 Gun Nation, they do not dictate that, you start here, you shoot so many targets with the rifle, move here, and so on and so forth. It's really shooter's choice to where you get to play into your wheelhouse of what you shoot well. So, you may have the option to shoot some targets with a pistol or a shotgun. You may be a better pistol shooter than you are a shotgun. You have that choice. But with the beginning guys, we definitely want to be able to, first and foremost, be able to simplify the stage, break it down. What do I need to do? Okay, and then step by step, I got to do this before I can do that. And that starts by counting all the targets, see which weapon platform you're going to use to engage those targets, and then find the most, the most advantageous place to shoot those targets from.
Sweet. Now, when once you've done that walkthrough with them and you've set up that sort of prescribed way to shoot the stage that you would think would be advantageous for a shooter, are you then going to give them feedback once they're done shooting? And then how do you manage that along with your own shooting as well?
Well, and that's a fine balance, to be honest with you, because obviously probably how I'm going to shoot a stage is not going to be the same way that a new shooter is going to shoot a stage.
Sure.
I'm going to play into my strong points, and pistol being one of them, the most pistol targets that I can engage, I'm going to utilize if that is, the course dictates. So what I like to do is when we're going through the walkthrough, and you don't have a lot of time to do that, so we've got to get a game plan together quick, and you got to be able to program yourself. Go out there, get their game plan together, briefly talk to them individually, say, okay, this sounds solid. Well, maybe you might want to think about doing this instead of going right. Let's go left. Kind of look at that. And then once it's said and done, if they can execute their plan, we'll talk about it. We'll have a little after-action review after that and say, hey, this is what I did good, this is what I did bad, and we drive on from there. And we'll go to the next stage. We leave it right there. You can't dwell on it. If you did really bad, you leave it right there. You move on to the next stage, and we start all over again.
Nice, nice. Well, guys, we only have just a couple minutes left because I know you've got students that are getting ready to come back from a lunch. But I want to ask you both individually one last question. And, Mike, we'll start with you. How do you view where 3-Gun has come from and where it is right now, and what are your feelings on that?
Where 3-Gunners come from?
No. Where 3-Gun came from, like from when you first started shooting it.
Well, it came from, honestly, I don't know exactly where a base came from. I think that some guys got together and said, hey, we having this much fun with one gun? Let's try 2 guns. Hey, you know what? Let's try 3 guns, okay? Because it's 3 times the fun with 3 guns as it is with 1, in my opinion. And where it has grown, I've seen it come through. I've seen the Soldier of Fortune matches, recon matches, and those things, especially being military and retired military. And then, it really started rolling good in the mid-2000s. Really it kicked out west first with the Wellington Center.
Yeah.
All these MGM matches, Iron Man, and that just built up, and then it's kind of started filtering east. But I think the east side on the East Coast is built up more now than anywhere because we have so many matches. Where it's going, I think it's the fastest growing sport in the United States. By the way our classes, by the way I see the local matches filling up, I think it's one of the fastest growing sports in the United States. I see a lot of people coming from other commodities, cowboy action, IDPA. Everybody starts usually with a single commodity is where I'm seeing when I talk to people. But then they'll come in and jump into this, and I've got people say, I ain't going back. I like this. I'm not going back. So I see us headed in the right direction, and I see us growing. I hate that all this bloomed up after I got so old, that I can't keep up with those young guys, wherever you're at out there, clean up church. Okay. No, I'm just joking. But anyway, it's a great sport. It's great camaraderie. And I think in a few years, with Three Gun Nation, the way they have done things, the way they have established and made it even for every shooter across the board, there's no end to this.
That's awesome. So, Chad, same question to you. From your experience and what you started shooting 3-gun at to where it is now, what are your thoughts and feelings on the game?
Well, again, when I first started shooting, we had 5 major matches, and they were all outlaw matches. They all had their own set of rules. So, and that was nationwide. And it's evolved exponentially from that point to now. We've already said you could shoot a match somewhere, even a major match during the summer months. You can shoot one probably 3 weeks out of the month across the country.
Absolutely.
And the cool thing that 3-Gun Nation has really done, and they've really taken this to another level, it's really the apex of the sport, in my opinion, is they've standardized everything to where a guy can come in, he knows exactly what he's getting involved with, first and foremost. He has the opportunity to shoot at local clubs or major matches all across the United States, and you're going to have the same rules throughout that whole program. But the sport is nowhere near where I think it's going. Memberships to all shooting disciplines, but more so in 3-gun than anywhere else. It's unbelievable. You can see that by the way these major matches sell out. They go online registration and they'll sell out within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Local matches in North Carolina, they went to online registration and they're selling out within hours.
And that's for a local match. That's crazy.
Local matches now are what area or regional matches were 5 years ago.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, lots of good stuff happening for the future, and hopefully we'll all be a part of it for a long time to come. Mike, Chad, thank you so much for sitting down with me here on your lunch break and everything. And
do appreciate it.
Look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And if you get interested in those classes or anything, look on the 3-Gun Nation website under the training tab. We're fixing to come out with some new stuff on there, and I just want to touch on it a minute in case somebody out there in the listening world is interested. We will have some stuff available coming. There's a new calendar coming out. There'll be classes all across the United States coming out. Get on there, ask some questions, and if you got information, contact us. We'll be glad to come out to your facility and do whatever.
Very good, and I will link to that in the show notes as well, so folks know where to find it. And gentlemen, have a great weekend, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you a lot. Appreciate it.
I hope you enjoyed that interview with Mike Sexton and Chad Drury, instructors for 3-Gun Nation's 3-Gun classes. Hang on, we're not done yet. Here is 3-Gun Nation's Director of Club and Regional Series, Charles Soule. Charles, welcome back to the 3-Gun Show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me back.
Hey, man, I'm really excited to chat with you again for the listeners out there. We're doing a part 2 because we had a memory card malfunction, so I'm going to try to prove myself wrong when I always say that the first take is the greatest. So,
yeah, we have a script now to go by, or a transcript rather.
Yeah, exactly. We've got practice on this one. Well, Charles, I wanted to have you back on because I shot my first 3-Gun Nation match. It was the Southwestern Regional in Texas, and I had a lot of fun. But true to form, everyone gives you a hard time. And it dumped rain.
That's right. Yep. I guess my Beautiful Day, whatever intro song doesn't apply. But yeah, it was the first one this year. I mean, it's pretty inevitable. I mean, we're doing matches just about every 2 weeks. So we're rolling the dice about every 2 weeks on whether we're gonna be dry or wet or. I think last year when we were in Utah, it actually snowed in the high desert. So
Wow.
I've certainly earned the reputation bringing in some precipitation, but it was just unfortunate, because the crew had really worked hard. I mean, Copperhead Creek is such a cool and unique venue. It offers the natural terrain and then some big old bays and we had just put in a good 10 days worth of work and lo and behold, the sky fell open. It's kind of funny because the guys at Copperhead Creek are just really good people, great positive attitudes. And they're like, oh yeah, we're looking at the weather radar. We don't really get any sustained rains or anything. Of course, I mean, look at the news now at Texas. I mean, they're God bless. I mean, it's horrible what's happening in that region. But the next thing, I went in there and I talked to one of them. I said, "What were you talking about? Any kind of sustained rains?"
Yeah.
And it was just what really was just kind of an eye opener for me, particularly doing events in the rain, is I've never seen runoff like that. I mean, I've seen rain, but I mean, it was the runoff was crazy. I was sitting there in a pickup truck wondering if it was going to wash away.
Yeah, no kidding.
Um,
Well, and we
yeah.
had, all of our shooting gear. We had our shotguns ready to go. We were on stage one, and it didn't have a preload table, so we just had them on the ground pointed toward the berm, and they quickly got soaked. And then all that water that was accumulating in stage one there in that berm, we were on top of a hill, and it just ran straight down that road and then into the other the stage two and stage three, which unfortunately had to get shut down because of that.
Yeah, it was the bowling pin effect. I was watching it. I was sitting up there going, "Are you kidding me?" And then lo and behold, this little guy I couldn't see because the rain was so hard, in a blue, like a blue jacket with a dark beard, comes wobbling up to Mike and I. I mean, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face, and he's like wanting me to roll the window down. It was Rick Birdsall.
Right.
I guess there was no varying degrees of wet for him, so
Yeah.
he was just out there. But yeah, it just took out those two stages, and then from there, um, I've always talked about Plan B. I've never had to enact Plan B in a major match, and I kind of put it together in Kentucky 2 years ago when we had some similar type of weather event, and it was up until then, we had never had to throw any stages out or anything like that, and lo and behold, we had to throw a couple stages out and redo the schedule, and it was disappointing from that perspective. But the bright side of the things, I mean, I was very impressed with the competitors' attitudes. I mean, you had competitors out there helping us shovel and repair ranges, and they were understanding. You know, Based on the events that had delayed us massively, and then the match getting cut short. So, I take my hats off to them, and then of course the staff. I mean, it's really,
Oh yeah.
you can't folks can't understand it. It's like building this beautiful house, and spending and then all of a sudden some act out of your control just totally demolishes, and you're just sitting there with a pile of wood going, what do I do? And it slows the stages down even when the rain stopped, and it takes a little bit, to kind of gather yourself up and move on through, and which our staff did. I mean, in the competitors. So it ended on a good note, in my opinion.
Yeah, it sure did. And I was there the day before chatting with you and Tennille and Chris while you guys were setting up, and there's a lot of hard work that goes. None of this stuff that we shoot is light, And then like you were mentioning, Tennille is like the master of banner placement and everything looked great and professional. And then like you said, the weather just comes through and destroys everything. I even saw like some steel targets that got like undercut by the water and had fallen over, like steel poppers just laying on their side because of the water.
Yeah, there's some photographs and stuff that have circulated on the web since the match, and there was a couple that Tennille had taken. And we literally installed drainage pipes underneath the fault lines. I've never seen that effort go. When I saw it, I was like, I mean, it was like, an inch and a half or 2 inch PVC pipe, and it was, 30% full of water flowing for like an hour. I mean, it was crazy how much rain came down.
And so I'm from Colorado, where it'll rain for a little while and then it's done, and then I'd always heard Texas was just completely dry and everything. So that was my first trip down there. So when we're sitting there on stage one, Rick Birdsall was getting to shoot, and I hear over the radio Mike Sexton saying, "Stop shooting, all hell's about to break loose," and we all laughed. It's like, yeah, right. Like, that's the overreaction of the century, but nope, it really did. And, we're sitting there under the easy up, and after a while, it wasn't even holding the water off. It was just dumping on us, and that's why, Rick Birdsall was cruising around just like nothing, because we were so completely all the way through. But
I saw that video and I was like, you need to clarify. It wasn't like it was a 10 by 10 with what 16 shooters
yeah,
and then staff. I mean, it was like it was the ultimate 3-gun sardine can. I
yeah,
mean, it was like, and then of course you had the commentator Keith Garcia himself, kind of giving us a play by play like we really needed to know what the weather conditions were. But yeah, man, I'm going to tell you right now, and I don't care who you are, what almanac or wherever you read. I have not been to Texas yet, and it hasn't rained. So all that is all good and all, but we have gotten wet every time we've gone there. And then again, it's like I say, we're doing events so frequently that eventually and as we've proven, we're going to get wet. I mean, it's inevitable. We play outside, it's to be expected, and until we can get like an old NFL dome, like a 3-gun dome, then I guess we're going to have to deal with that.
I cannot wait for the 3-gun dome. But
Yeah.
but until then, you've got Copperhead Creek Shooting Club, which they were super accommodating to the match. They're super accommodating even after the rain came. I saw them bringing in buckets of dirt, and when I say buckets, I mean tractor buckets full of dirt to mitigate the mud problem and the drainage problem and things like that. And everyone I met there was amazing. Like, so Charles, like, set the stage. This is like a 2,700 acre facility. 2,000 of it is like trail park, and then 700 is shooting park. And there's tons of natural terrain, which was amazing to be able to shoot some of those natural terrain stages, and with all the different options that 3-Gun Nation does. And so the stages that we got in were a lot of fun. They were challenging, and it was interesting to see how different people shot those stages.
Yeah, it was kind of like I said, the day before the weather was fine and everybody was out there, getting their game plan together. Unfortunately, the 2 stages that we had to toss were the ones that required the most as far as a game plan. But yeah, Copperhead Creek is unique. It's the only place we've been to every year in the regional series. So that kind of tells you a lot about the facility and the people in the town. And particularly that part of the country. I mean, there's a lot of Texans that like the sport, and that's good for us and for them. We found Copperhead Creek when we first started this regional deal. One of the things that Rob and I wanted to do is try to find new venues across the country, just to kind of experience something different, give the shooters something else, because, let's face it, for a long time, there were less than a dozen major 3-gun matches in the entire country.
Yeah, I think they called them the Big Five. Is that what Rob was telling me?
Yeah, and the other thing that goes along with that is that there's not a lot of facilities that are conducive to 3-gun. Let's face it. From a range need perspective, most ranges are set up, where they got a bullseye bay, they got a long range bay, they got some small bays, and if they've done any competitive pistol matches, then they may have a few square bays. But when you go to a facility and you say, hey, can we shoot shotgun and pistol over there, and it's like a wooded area that no one's been in since the Indians, it's like yeah, sure, there's no problem. And then you go in there and you carve out this natural terrain stage, and then you experience the kind of weather like that. I mean, you're gonna run into some problems. So the cool thing at Copperhead Creek is over the years they've built and made access to different parts of their facility for other major matches. I think now they're pulling down 2 or 3 major matches this year on top of what we did. Then they had a big seminar there for ladies competitive shooting. So it's kind of got on the map. I mean, we definitely feel like we had some involvement with that, with what we did. But, the facility itself, with Thomas and Craig, those guys there, I mean, they're just good people and really easy to work with. We kind of have the traveling carnival, if you will, picking up and going from range to range. And we run into a lot of different folks, doing this. And these guys are just super nice and really fun. It's located right outside of Austin, kind of in between San Antonio and Austin, kind of in the hill country, I guess they call it.
Yeah, Marble Falls.
Yes. Beautiful little town.
Beautiful setting too is really cool. Like right along Lake Travis and everything. And the sad thing is the stages that that got rained out, stage 2 and stage 3 with all those options. I was actually squatted with the first and second place in practical, which is Keith Garcia, Nick Atkinson, and then first place in factory, which was Rick Birdsall. So like I had all the cool plans, and I was like totally pumped about that. I'm like, yeah, my first match, I'm gonna be squatted with these guys, and we're talking plans and stuff, and then gets tossed out.
I know, and the one of the things that you have to take into account that is the conditions obviously improved, which was kind of cool. The soil does repair pretty fast, but the downside is we couldn't meet the time factor to get those in. That's we do a 2-day format. That's kind of what we've stuck with since we started this deal, and what people seem to like. Certainly a 3-day format can give you a little forgiving on that end. I mean, they all have pros and cons, whatever format you're using, but yeah, those 2 stages, and for those folks listening and yourself, if you're coming to South Carolina, you're not going to be cheated, because I can guarantee you'll have a couple that are very similar. We're actually smoking over a few right now on the computer, going back and forth on the diagrams that are going to give you the same. Hey, here's the shooting area. Start anywhere with any firearm you like. And these are the targets that you can engage with these type of guns, and we kind of like that. It's not at all to mess with people's minds or to do anything. I think what it does is it allows you to kind of be freestyle of what works for you. I think what I saw the most from I watch all the folks walking the stages, is I think folks don't have confidence in their plan, and naturally, I mean, if you're shooting with Keith Garcia and the guys that were on your crew, I mean, you'd kind of it would be not a good idea not to listen to them.
Yeah.
But
like, no, Keith, I got this one.
yeah, the skill levels are different, and I think that's where what I'm seeing and what I'm so excited about with what 3Gun Nation is bringing with these options is that the option that works for Keith Garcia may not work for someone else, because and it's all about you exploiting what is your best gun. I can load faster. I hate the shotgun. I had someone tell me, hey, there's too many slugs in this match compared to what you advertise, and I was like, nah, there isn't, because there's only really 6 mandatory slugs. It was clearly less than what you had, but certainly there were some viable options with slugs that but that was their choice. And we try to give that option, the options to folks, because it makes for, in our opinion, a better thing for folks to experience, because they can kind of say, hey, I can pick my poison. I'm not being dictated. Now, let's face it, on some stages, in some facilities, you can't do that. I mean, natural terrain, I've designed numerous major and monthly matches in natural terrain, and you just can't do that, because you don't have the ability to to shoot on the arc that you do with bays in natural terrain, and you're going to have to put people in a place where you can control what direction they're shooting. So, but we had a healthy mixture there. It's just unfortunate that the thinking stages kind of got tossed out in a way.
Yeah, it was. So let's talk about tossing stages out when you have to go to your plan B. How do you decide which stages to let go, and then which stages to keep? How does that whole process work?
Well, it's certainly one that's not, it's not fun, obviously, and any match rec that's had to do it doesn't like doing that, because, I mean, you're having to make a tough decision. But the beauty of our deal is it's not just a Charles Soule decision. I mean, we have a crew of people, Tennille, we've talked about, Brian and Chris. I mean, it was we basically had a conference up in the room at the lodge there. We had all the staff come in, and we've got some guys that do some really serious critical thinking jobs in their real world, and we pulled out an old grease board and we threw up all the options up there, and of course Mike and myself And the folks, on the staff, we just sat there and said, here's what our possibilities are, and we thought through it, and we figured, the one thing that I was adamant about, and everyone else, is we wanted to give them more than 50% of the match.
Yeah.
We had to get that done because that's only fair. We wanted to get more than 50% of the match done, and when we worked the numbers, we could do it, because when it all comes down to it, running a major match is basically a matter of managing minutes. It's not a matter of managing side stages and sponsors and, all that. It's a matter of minutes. And we rely on the ROs. That's where it all starts. That's why there's a 5-minute walkthrough, there's this, there's that. So once we knew what we could get done, here's the new schedule, then we went and obviously made the decision on which stages were the ones that could be repaired. And those two, because like you talked about at the beginning, they received the lion's share of the runoff.
Right.
They were just not going to be repaired in time to get things going. Now, one more day, sure. It was, matter of fact, when we're out there tearing it down, it's like, gosh, it sure is beautiful. I think we actually ran into you guys practicing.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you kidding me? But yeah, that as far as what went into it, the primary thing obviously is, can we get the match finished, and then are these stages repairable? And then you obviously need to consider safety. Stage 8 would just not have been safe. There was too much movement, and there was too much. It was just not good footing for competitors to be put in that situation. So those are the ones that we pulled away.
A portion of stage 8 was like in a gully, right? Which is exactly where the water goes when it rains.
Yeah, it was actually, that's what kind of made it cool. It was it was an old washout area, and trust me, it washed out. I don't even know where that orange box that you were supposed to shoot the slugs from. It could be in, I don't know, South Texas. It was not there. No, it was washed away.
So you get out the grease board and you figure out what it's going to take to finish the match. You've mentioned that you are a huge fan of practice score, and that the match management tools that are on the back end help you make that decision. What is the actual nuts and bolts of that tool, and how does that help you?
Well, yeah, Ken and Russ, the guys at Practice Score, Ken Nelson and Russ Armstrong, I mean, they're awesome. I mean, it's been said by many people, and I'll say it again. The growth of competitive shooting sports has a lot to do with those two guys, because the Practice Score offers you everything you need when it comes to running a match. And they've designed this tool. I saw it about 1.5 years ago at another match I was involved in, when it was kind of being put together from a bunch of match directors saying, hey, this would be cool to see. And basically they have several in the match management, but the one that we use is the squad management tool, where it basically tells you, it follows every shooter as their score gets hit in it, and then it starts turning a large graph colors from green to red, so you kind of know who's done. I mean, I can't imagine back in the day when we used to use a spreadsheet how we would have been able to sit there and figured, I don't know how anyone does paper and bangs it into a spreadsheet. But this deal, it works really good if you're connected to Wi-Fi the entire time, because it can be used. But once you sync up, you hit the match management, you look in there, and it'll lay everything out on where your squads are at. The other cool thing too is it does give you data throughout the match when it's not bad weather, to telling you what your squad times, how fast they're running shooter to shooter. So yeah, without the practice score deal, it would have been tough to get it done in any time of manner. And I don't think we were confident in our plan, just because we had to weigh all the options. So after 10 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
I mean, we were out there trying to check the range, and of course it rained even more that night.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be staying with Nick Atkinson, and we all had dinner, parted ways, and okay, so here's the plan for tomorrow. And then when I woke up, the plan had changed, because the late breaking, trying to figure out which stages we're going to go. The plan sounds like the plan had changed a couple times with even with what was broadcast to the shooters. Just trying to like you said, get that last 50% or the more than 50% in.
Yeah, we were out there. I want to say it was like 9 o'clock because we had our RO dinner plan, and we treat the ROs every match. So we had a dinner reservation that we kept pushing out, and Chris and I were walking around out there on the bays. Chris and Brian are a huge asset when it comes to putting stuff together, but they've also kind of been with me through every one of these deals, so they kind of know, like, I don't know if you want to do that,
Right.
It's kind of a check and balance, so to speak. And we just went out there, and of course it poured down when we were sitting there eating dinner at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So that threw it out the window. And then God bless Tennille, we're literally at the restaurant, and she has her computer up, and she's like, okay, so what am I going to put in this email now? Because now we have to check, again, I know it's frustrating for folks, and literally we were at the dinner table when she was firing off these emails, and we were trying to make our last decision. We appreciate people's patience. I mean, we're not just, taking this for granted. I mean, there's a lot of, I think we were on the range the last day. It was like 17 hours that we were, we'd been out there. So, we're grateful that folks do understand that and realize that, some of the decisions we just can't really make immediately. Again, you play outside with Mother Nature. I mean, the easy decision would have been, hey, the match is over, let's do a random or off the prize table. But,
Right.
We didn't want to do that because we don't feel like that's fair. And we felt like there was an option that we could, bring the match to the folks and at least get some shooting done, and then, do it based on, an order of finish.
Yeah, and then we did end up having some great stages too. Even though there was the mud to contend with, it was definitely a fun match. Now, I mentioned at the top of the show that the original recording that we had done somehow got corrupted and is gone. This is the first time it's ever happened to me, but I think it's because I got you to guarantee that there would be no rain at the Eastern Regional. So, so unfortunately, that is no longer on audio record. So, tell me what I can look forward to at the Eastern Regional in South Carolina coming up.
Well, we were just on a big call today about what we're going to be doing down there. Mike Sexton and I, of course, that's his range for the Upstate monthly 3-gun match. It's a big club, 3-gun nation club for us. So he and I were already plotting the stages out. They're going to go out there tomorrow and do some stuff. So we've got, like I said, it's a cool venue for mixture of bays and natural terrain. A little bit more natural terrain than Copperhead Creek and good old, the southeast. So it's going to be full of, there'll probably be a little poison ivy out there and some other, a lot more large, tall trees and that stuff to contend with. And then they've done some remodeling of their bays, so you're going to get exposed to some really cool bays. We shot there our first year, so it'll be a different look for folks. Then the other thing we're doing is we're always trying to push the envelope. Is we're doing our match and a match deal, which is we're running our Eastern Regional 3-gun match, and then now we're going to throw in a 6-stage shotgun only match right on top of it, right on the what Mike Sexton likes to call, and you'll hear him probably say it at the shooters meeting, the pinwheel. It's a circular road. It's an old Clinton House is an old huge farm. I can't remember. I think it's several thousand acres, but they do sporting clays, and it's an old sporting clay facility that they've taken down that we use now for 3-gun. Yeah, so you're going to get a shotgun match and a 3-gun match all in the same weekend.
Well, that's pretty cool. So how are you going to run 2 matches at the same time?
I really don't know. On paper, we're going to have a whole crew. We've got a really good dude that's been with us for a while. It's a totally separate range master, 6 different ROs. Tim Yagula is his name, big old tall Tim. Is going to run that side as a range master, and of course Mike is our regional match director. Regional range master, and he'll handle the 3-gun portion. And then Tennille and I will be bouncing back and forth. But the shotgun only is 6 stages. It's all of a falling steel type of an event. Basically, I've drew up a couple of the stages today. Hopefully they'll be released in the next couple of days on the web. but they're basically some movement between boxes. There's a couple of obstacles. You're looking at about 20 to 30 rounds per stage. They're all par times. So basically, whatever you can get while the clock is still ticking, it's 1 point per target, and then 2 points minus if you happen to hit one of the non-threats. And they're not a lot of non-threats, but it's a falling steel deal. So you got to get all you can get on the clock.
That sounds like a lot of fun, and I really love shotguns. So the more shotgun, the better.
Yeah, this one I think it's all birdshot, which is really cool too because it's not as expensive as slugs and buck. So it's all birdshot. I think you're looking, like I said, they're either 20 round or 20 plates or 30 plates each stage, and they'll alternate. I think we're bringing down about 140 pieces of steel. So, I think we threw out 200 rounds of birdshot as an approximate round count, and there may be an unloaded or a downloaded start. I haven't really thought yet, but I would probably bet some money on that.
Yeah, I would have to bet some money on that too, considering some of the starts that we had at the Southwestern Regionals. So, well, Charles, I've seen another thing that you guys got coming up, and I want to give you an opportunity to talk about it and tell people about it. It's Escape the Tower. What is Escape the Tower?
Well, that's the old that's part 2 of Tame the Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Tame the Tower we did back in the fall with Rev Arms at VIR. VIR is where we're doing our Pro Series deal this year, where we're filming the show there on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then that Saturday and Sunday we have like a monthly club event, which we alternate between, it's usually a 3-gun match on a Saturday and then some type of 1-gun or a 2-gun match on Sunday. So we were out on the facility one of the first times we were out there, and we were looking around, and VIR has a unique long range bay. It's 1,000 yards, but it has a 90-foot tower, and this is not this is a massive tower. And we saw it, and I was like, man, of course, at the regional we did last year, we didn't use the physical tower itself. We kind of shot around it. But we started using it in the monthly matches, and the competitors loved it. I mean, you're up 60 feet shooting your pistol, a target 40 yards away, 60 feet high. I mean, this is like not normal stuff you get to expose to. So we were kicking it around, and someone came up with, we need to do a gauntlet stage, and we'll call it, and it'll be circling around the tower, and we'll call it Tame the Tower, which we put together. And basically it's a continuous target. You go to a 3-gun match or a pistol match, and it's all aggregate. You're on the clock for like 35 seconds for 8 or 10 stages over 2 days. Well, this one, you're on the clock. I think the winning time was like 4.5 minutes of continuous fire, and we had people shoot as long as 16 minutes of continuous fire from the tower, to 300 or 400 yard jungle run with pistol and shotgun, all at one time.
Sounds like a good time. So Escape the Tower then is I'm guessing you're starting at the top of the tower and then just getting out of it. You're
not all the way to the top, because I don't think many folks could recover from the top. It's up there.
Right.
And it's a lot of steps. One of the things that was kind of a little deceiving about this event is physical, but it's all about that rifle. We give them, last match it was 35 rifle targets. This match it's 45. So you're going to have 45 rifle targets to get you off of the tower. And they're not crazy distances. They're big targets. But this is a match, if you shoot heavy, I posted a video today of Jeff Barquin. He's one of our ROs. He's just a super good dude. Jeff is running it in heavy, and he destroyed it. And even with a 1911, his time, I think he was like in the top 4 or 5, because it's all about getting the hits and getting off that tower from that rifle engagements. And so the heavy guns, tend to do a little bit better. And you're slinging them, you're unslinging them, you're doing all kinds of fun stuff, on the tower. And then when you come down, there's a lot of accurate pistol shots. We use the 3-Gun Nation Pro target, so everything's within a side of a 12-inch circle. You don't get the whole Club Series target paper. And then we tend to like some slugs. So generally, I think at the end of this one, there was like 8 slug targets they had at the end of it. And, the questions you get, can a guy reload my pistol mags? Can guy, we had guys picking up ammo, guys, Aaron Reed, who won it. If you look at his video, Mitch Cox actually puts his vest, his shotgun vest on him as he's coming down the steps. It was quite interesting. So
No kidding.
Yeah, coaching is totally allowed, encouraged. I mean, stashing ammo is almost a necessity. Having a guy, if you don't have enough 1911 mags, picking them up and reloading them and tossing them to you halfway through the stage. It's just fun, I mean, we kind of like the idea because you're not standing around. A competitor can come to the range for about 2.5 to 3 hours and they're done for the day. We give them tea times. So you show up at 8:30 to, noon and you're finished for the day. Of course, we won't tell your wives or your significant others that you're done. We'll just let them believe that you're there all day. But anyway, no, it's kind of unique. It's not something we can do every day just because of, the logistics. This time we're running it for 3 days straight. We got a couple of the pro shooters. Nate Satchwich has signed up that are shooting their pro match, and they're going to hang around and shoot it afterwards. And some other interesting folks attending, so it should be fun.
Well, it sounds like a good time. And if folks are interested in signing up for that match, how do they do that?
So the easiest thing to do is a lot of things for the regionals, and with go to that VIR. A lot of the things for the monthly match is the VIR Competitive Shooting Weekend Facebook page. You can catch a lot of the videos and the stuff there. So the event is posted there on Facebook. If not, you can go to 3gundation.com, just like you would sign up for a regional and look for the event I think it starts on the 23rd. Our targets just don't get a day off because we're going to load up, I think, on the 21st in South Carolina and be back in Virginia, set up, ready to roll on the 23rd. And then we have the pro match, that week as well. So it'll be a lot of fun going on.
Cool. Well, I'll definitely link to that in the show notes at the 3gunshow.com. And, Charles, thanks for coming back on the show, man. I appreciate you, giving me your time again. And I'll be seeing you in South Carolina, man.
No, thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
And I hope you enjoyed that interview with Charles Soule. It is always interesting to get a peek behind the scenes of how things work, and this was no different. Match management when bad weather flares up is no joke. So hearing about 3Gun Nation's Plan B and the collaboration that goes into pulling off that plan is pretty cool. I also enjoyed hearing about the great training opportunities that 3GN has for new shooters, and Chad and Mike seem like the perfect guys to be instructing the classes. I hope to have those guys back on soon for a longer form interview. I also want to say thank you to Thomas, Dave, and Craig at Copperhead Creek Shooting Club for being such gracious hosts to me and the show, and for providing a great place to record. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Again, selected links can be found at 3gunshow.com/episode 76. And don't forget to sign up for the June giveaway of the MGM Targets 10-inch Sportsman's Target. Check it out at 3gunshow.com/MGM. And when you make a purchase at MGM Targets, you can save 10% using the code DHMGM10. You can also support the 3Gun Show podcast by using our affiliate link when you shop at Brownells. Just go to 3gunshow.com/Brownells and shop like normal. If you like this show, please tell a friend, subscribe on iTunes, and leave a review. In fact, I got a review from Don't Do It ZZX that I want to read to you here. Don't Do It ZZX says, "Keep going, please!" Exclamation point. 5 stars. I've been listening to your podcast since the beginning. I've been shooting 3-gun for a few years now at local clubs. I don't spend much time on podcasts, but yours is the first I go to when I do have time. Just finished listening to episode 64, the greatest match travel story ever told. This was hilarious. I enjoyed the humor and appreciate the information presented in each episode. I do miss the walkout song question. I would put them on a playlist and listen on my way to a match. Please keep up the excellent work. Well, thank you, Don't Do It ZZX. I will keep up the work, and we're going to keep doing the show here as long as you're listening. And I missed the walkout song too. It was a lot of fun, and I actually have a playlist myself that I listen to. If you want to leave a review of your own, you can do so. Just go to 3gunshow.com/iTunes and let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and subscribing to the show. I'm Dave Hartman, and I'll catch you in the next episode.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.